thank you, Renata, for that introduction. Again, yes, I am Dr. Sonya Dennis, and I am from Morehouse College. For the project that we were awarded for this grant, and we in the AU Center were looking to create a data science minor. So in the computer science department, we created a course, Data in the African Diaspora. And so that's what I'm going to go over a brief introduction to what the course entails. And then towards the end, the course was actually taught this semester. And so I'll give you some firsthand encounter from the professor who taught it, because I asked her to kind of give me an overview. She wasn't able to attend today. There was a conflict that she had at this time as well. So, all right, so the data science discipline, of course, is built upon and processed through the infrastructure of computer science. The proposed course that we designed, it shifts the focus of the computer science student from the how to the why, and help to manage information, design, and analyze the methods to find patterns in relationship in large data sets, and statistically interpret events related to those issues. So this first time through, we decided to look at some health challenges for this course. And I think what we proposed that we would do is to switch it up, each semester, to try to look at other areas. It can be economics, so many different areas we can actually dive into. But like I said, this semester we decided to look at health challenges. Right, so just a little bit about the team. I was the PI on this proposal, and Dr. Juana Mendenhall was our educational subject matter expert. And then Yvonne Phillips, was a data scientist, subject matter expert. She has experience from LexisNexis. She's been a data scientist for years. She's taught at Morehouse, some in the computer science department, some in kinesiology as well. And so it was only befitting that she tackled this very first course for us as well, with data in the African diaspora. So just to give a little background, of course, this started in the summer of last year. And, we worked with, the three of us worked together to, get this course together. It was approved, thank goodness, because that's a challenge sometimes going through curriculum committees, at each level. But fortunately, everything was successful. And so one of the student learning outcomes, or a few that I'll highlight, were to define data and data science, as well as explain the various subspecialties, including artificial intelligence, machine learning, data visualization, cybersecurity, et cetera. Explain the increasingly important role that data plays in economics, social justice, politics, and other aspects of African American life. Explain how data science give rise to questions of ethics, fairness, privacy, et cetera, in the African diaspora. And as I stated earlier, the course is being taught in 2022. Thank goodness we just finished the semester, so final exams were this week. So again, it was taught by Ms. Phillips, who was the data science subject matter expert in here. As far as limitations or any problems we encountered, it wasn't any major problems. It's just going back and forth between the three of us, making sure we had some solid student learning outcomes, some solid objectives for the course, picking out a book that would cover the topics that could be covered in the semester. And this is an introductory course because it is 105. So making sure not to inundate the students with too much data, because what we found is some students are not, all of them were not computer science students. So all of them didn't have programming skills or programming experience. And so we just wanted to make sure that anybody, it was cross curriculum and anybody could take it if they wanted to. So acknowledgements, of course, again, Yvonne Phillips, Dr. Mendenhall, she's actually a chemist who was on our team and helped, make sure that the learning outcomes were obtainable and things of that nature. Of course, Morehouse College Computer Science Department, HBCU FDN, and then HBCU DSC. Now, to talk about the course that Ms. Phillips taught, I asked her to kind of give me an overview of how the course went this semester. So she said there were 6 students, 3 of them were computer science students. There was one who was psychology, a finance, as well as a business major. So, as a pilot course, of course, we would have loved to have seen more students in the course. But I think it's more about us advertising the course and putting it out there and encouraging those who are advising students to look at this as as a free elective that they could take. And then, of course, eventually when the data science minor is approved, then it could be one of the courses that would fit that mold of being one of the courses for the minor. I also asked her what were the topics covered. She said they talked about opioids, diabetes, COVID, and cancer. And once I asked, she told me, she said the students were talking about how morbid the data was, just, but it's like, it's harsh reality, but, that's what they were looking at. And, African-American men versus women, looking at ages and things of that nature, just kind of dissecting the data in that manner. And so that's what, she was like, they were like, can we talk about something else with a little bit, that's not more interesting, but not so sad and so depressing. And then I asked her, if we were to, when we do it again, what would she change or what would she like to see for the next course? And she said that, and I'm just going to read some of the notes because I did get it from her. She said she would approach teaching the foundation of coding through R Markdown in steps. And she said, as an example, as far as the basic data structures, by having the student circle all the scripts where a vector is created as an example. But during the course, she actually used R Markdown to present coding for data analysis. She also used fill in the blank practice problems as well, using common functions for data analysis as well. And she used Virtual Computers Lab to access RStudio as well as Excel. And so she said overall, the course was a success. She enjoyed teaching it. The students learned a lot. And so, we look forward to it being on the books again for fall, if I'm not mistaken, unless we're going to offer every spring. I have to check on that. But either it'll be offered again in the spring, or we may offer it in the fall as well. And that is the course in a nutshell. Are there any questions right now?
Hey, Sonya, hi. I'm Noel Mazade at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. We're an MSI, a minority serving institution. This was an undergrad course, is that right? I may have missed.
That is correct.
And is the syllabus available?
I can provide that. I will get the syllabus.
Yeah, if you can put a link to it you can put it in the Etherpad as well. That's how we keep the information. We can disseminate it. Go ahead, Noel. That was at the end of your question.
Yeah, thanks for providing this. I mean, it's such an important topic, and it'd be interesting to have a group like this or another group take the syllabus, or as though we were creating a class like this from scratch, what is it we would include? In other words, get a multi-university perspective. There may be modules that some of us have that might be relevant, and using different methods, case studies or videos of different kinds, or data from a real community, et cetera. So thanks for putting this out there.
Oh, yes. And I must give Spelman credit too, because we looked at their syllabus when we were creating ours to kind of get an idea of some of the topics to cover as well. So we did look at the Spelman offers introductory course as well on their campus. Okay,
Definitely
thank
think
you.
the idea of doing it among different campuses, just because, well, or at least that perspective of, because I know that some efforts have been made on different campuses to include modules that are relevant to particular areas of social impact or different areas. So Uma, yeah, I was going to come to you next because you guys have done that.
Sorry, I just wanted to.
And introduce yourself. I meant to have everyone introduce themselves, but if you ask a
Okay,
question.
I am Uma and I teach at NC Central University. And your course sounds very interesting. So one question was the syllabus. So you said you will be sharing that. The experience with the programming part of it seems to mirror what we went through. So I don't know if she has looked at no code tools. So one switch we made was to use CodeApp, and that greatly improved the students' involvement. Okay. So is there, and I believe you said this was a free elective for the students?
Yes.
Is there any plans to make it a requirement across campus?
Right, so Morehouse, Spelman, so the consortium of Morehouse, Spelman, and Clark are in the process of creating a data science minor. Okay. And when the minor is approved, that'll be one of the courses that will, be a choice, I guess. I'm not sure if it's going to be a mandatory course. It may be, because it's a 100 level course, so it may be the first one that they're introduced to. Which probably won't be a bad idea. And then we'll have different levels. So I could potentially see this being one of the required courses for the minor. It's one of the first few courses that are being developed on our campuses right now that have been approved. So, but thank you. I'll take that back to her about Kodak, because that was a challenge, was them learning either RStudio or our Markdown, is what she was saying. Okay, thank you. Very nice to meet both of you.
And even in regards to topics, I know you covered a broad range of topics in your courses where you collected data from different in UMA when you were doing the projects. So they were talking about health. Sorry, but there may also be other topics.
Repeat again. I was reading the chat with the question. Sorry. Could you repeat?
Yeah. So the topics, she was saying the topics were, the students said they were morbid in some ways, but I know you did a broad range of topics in your course as well.
Yes.
And if some of them were, I guess, more upbeat, I don't know, maybe.
So that is one thing we are trying to focus on, is some of these topics can also induce trauma in the students, prior lived experiences. And so we need to make sure that we address and handle that. So we are trying to create a detailed lesson plan where even that component gets addressed. Because again, we are talking about domestic violence, sexual assault, police brutality, gun violence. So all of this are trigger factors.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I ask your question, Uma? I'm sorry. So when you encounter that, and a student is traumatized by some of the topics that are covered, like for instance, because some of them may have lived that. How do you tackle that in class? What do you do to handle that? So
in our case, we were not the lead instructor for the course. We were coming in with the data science component. We were incorporating it into an existing course. So in that existing course, they were anyway dealing with social justice issues, minus the data science part. What we added was the data science part. So throughout the semester, they do have some, I forget what they call it, as hot topics or something, where they do talk about the day-to-day issues, that what is happening in the world, how it is affecting them. So I kind of think, and we are not in the class at that time, so I think the instructor kind of addresses those topics throughout the semester. So we did not have to deal with it directly, but we did get feedback from some students is, for instance, in the case of maternal mortality, some of the male students specifically said that they weren't aware of that problem to begin with. So now I think that made them more worried for their family members moving forward. Maybe they had a sibling or someone in that position. So it made them more aware and more concerned towards that problem. But for the other ones, I think the students, since they could self-choose the topic, I think they made sure they didn't choose a topic that could be triggering for them. That's my guess, because we weren't faced with any group where they said it was impacting their progress on the project. So, but we realized that that is an issue we have to address.
Okay.
Lesson plan itself.
Yeah, that just made me think of something. I may need to put counseling services on the syllabus. Syllabus probably be a good idea, just in case, because talking about, all of this COVID and cancer and diabetes and as you said, domestic violence, I think I'll just add counseling service at the bottom of the syllabus. Maybe a good idea. Okay, thank you.